Okay, so in the previous session, we have seen how to, we created a service interface called iPatient information, and then we created the patient information service where by using insurance management context, we called our different methods like uh, create patient information, which will add a new patient information, delete patient information, which will delete the patient information from the table, and it's a get specific patient information, get all patients information, and update patient information. And before that, we have seen how to generate the models and also the DB context by using a command called scaffold. I hope you guys did this generating the models and setting up your entity framework so that you can use them in the services. So today we are going to see how we are calling this from the controllers. So our controller will responsible calling these services. So how we are going to implement that. So whenever you are calling any methods or any services in your controller, so public patient information. So this is constructor. So in the constructor here we are going to use read only, um, read only I patient. So include your services. So using patient business dot iServices. So here I'm going to create iPatient okay, it should be public. If it is internal, you can access only within the namespace. If it is public, you can access outside namespace. So patient information, iPatient service. I'm going to use this. Then iPatient service, patient service to distinguish. And here I'm going to do the dependency injection. So it is complaining about method must have a return type. So yeah, this is not a patient, it's a control, it's a constructor. Okay, so here it's going to return all the patient information, right? So let's drag this here. Okay, so return patient information service dot get patient information. So this is enumerable, and you have to use await. Still it is cannot complete patient information to show potential fixes. So yeah, so the method is returning system collections generic enumerable patient information, and your Microsoft, you can remove this action result. This is not required. Yeah, because action results is for MVC. So this is we are returning only. So this should return Boolean, I guess. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Boolean bool. Yeah. Okay. So here return await patient information service dot get a patient information. Yeah, this will return. So this is going to update. So return patient information service dot, what is that? It's an update. Patient information service dot update patient information. So what kind of, it's returning Boolean await. You have to use await keyword. So if you are using await keyword, that will return. Let's see what it is returning. Yeah, this is returning task Boolean. So await. Yeah. So if you are using await keyword, that is going to return the task. If you are not going to, since the async method, the return expression must contain the Boolean rather than task bool. So if you are not returning, if you are not using await, your method should be only Boolean, and you should remove this async. So this is synchronous way. Since you are using asynchronous, so you should call this the return value. So you can do like this also, var x equal to, okay, and return await x. Either you have to do like this, because this await need to be included when you are returning the value. Otherwise it will not return the task type, it will return non-task type. So return await. Yeah. So similarly, this is a post. So return await patient service dot create patient information. So I think this is also returning a Boolean. Yeah. So delete patient information, return. We can change the return types and all later, but as of now, keep it delete patient information ID. Yeah. So yeah. So it's simplified. You have 5 action methods, so which will return all patient information, return specific patient information, updates a patient information, and post patient information, and delete patient information. So run this. So right now we don't have any data. So there are some compile errors. Somewhere we missed it. Okay, just add a colon here. So this is console. Okay, so your patient information Swagger got generated. So this is get a specific this will return all the patients. So this will, you can check. So this is the return payload response when you call this specific method. It has everything. See the name of the patient, date of birth, uh, address ID, medical notes, again address. So we are returning everything. So we can customize this. Okay. So as of now, SID navigation, everything it's going to return. So this is the input type you have to give. Uh, so this is the payload you have to provide when you are updating, and you have to pass the ID and it will return true or false. Okay, so let's run this API. So we need to make changes to our models, or we need to come up with a different approach. Okay, so try it out. So execute. Okay, so can you tell me what is this issue? We have seen this earlier. What is this issue? I highlighted some text. Where is this issue is coming? So go to your controller, put a breakpoint in the constructor, put a breakpoint in the get patient information. Okay, and just, okay, not we are not yet there. Execute one more time. So it is not even hitting your, patient information controller. So let's put some breakpoint in the startup.cs. So put some breakpoint here and try to execute one more time. So it's not even hitting the startup. Create a builder. No, it's not even hitting. Let's do it one more time. Um, do we have any other startup? No. Okay. Okay. So it's executing the builder, web application create builder. Okay. And it's adding the controllers. And I think here only it will fail. So the DB context, test path, add scoped environment. So it's generating. Okay. In the map controllers, it's running. So when you run it, I know what is the issue. Okay. So this kind of issue, here it's saying dependency injection. So the dependency injection is not working because in the patient controller, you are using iPatient information service, which you need to inject here in the program.cs. You have to inject. So how we are going to do that? Like similar way, builder dot services dot add scoped I patient information service. So this is the type of interface. So wherever you are using this interface, here provide the object provider. It no need to be always provider. You can simply say X, so which is a lambda expression. So new, what is that? I patient, new patient, new patient information service, patient information service. And internally that patient information service is using a context, DB context. So X dot get required service of insurance management context. So here you are trying to provide a patient information object, and if you go to the constructor of this patient information object, internally it is using a DB context. So that's why already we injected DB context here, we are injecting, and the same DB context we are passing it here, get required service. We are not going to create a new DB context, we are going to use the provided DB context. So now you can run one more time. So this dependency injection is very important. Whenever you add a new service or any new component, you have to come here and you have to inject it. So let's run this. Yeah, now it's hitting, and now you can see the patient information service with the DB context, everything. Okay. Mhm. Right. So here there are three ways you can do that. So add scoped, I'll come to that. I'll explain it with example. Add scoped, and add singleton, add transient. So there are, this is important interview question. Thanks for reminding me. So they'll ask how you do the dependency injection, or how you control this lifetime of a object you are injecting into your .NET Core. So there are three: add scoped, add singleton, add transient. I'll explain it in the next session with an example, but as of now it's a add scoped. Okay, so here, yeah, the patient information got resolved. Okay, and now it's going to use the patient information tool list. Right now we don't have any data, so that's why it will return empty array. Yeah, empty array, it will return response body. So how can I call the post method? So calling post method from the Swagger is little difficult. So we have to take help of uh, postman. So create a new collection, create new blank collection. So again, using postman is important aspect when you're in API development. So name it as patient information dev. As of now, we have only dev. So you can organize your postman collection however you want. So delete this. I'm trying to see whether I can create a postman collection here. Create a fork, mark collection. Yeah. Okay, add a request. So this I'll say get all patients. So what is your URL? So I think again here we created variables like this, but even you can create an environment completely. So here, see, I have two collections. So in this collection, I'm testing dev student API. So for that, the URL will be localhost 8080, and for this also the localhost 8080 only. So again, I need to create a variable like this, or I can create environment completely. Create a new environment. Oh, I already created here. Okay, delete this. So I say dev environment, and this is the initial value. Okay, dev first API. So how to use this environment in your collections? So come here. So here I didn't select any environment. Okay. So come here and you can select an environment, dev environment. Now this collection is using your environment, dev environment. Okay. So come here and add. So dev first API, if you see, okay, just save it. Did I save the environment? Okay, dev first API. Come here, collections. So patient information is using, but it's not resolving. Active environment collection. Make sure the variable is defined and enabled in the active environment collection. This is my environment. So create fork export. Did I save this? Now it gets saved. Come to the collection. Yeah. So the collection was not, the environment was not saved. So in Postman, just try to save, then only it will be reflected. Come here. So dev URL. Okay, I didn't save it. And if you come here and if you are trying to use it, it will dev URL. What is the name I gave? Dev URL. Yeah. So, and it says it's not recognized. Go here and save the value. So here it's enabled means it's unsaved. Now save it. It got saved. Come back here. Now this will be resolved. Dev URL. So if it is resolved, you can see the solid value, otherwise it will be faded. Okay, so this is not student. So what is the URL here? So it's API patient information. API patient information is the URL. So patient information. Yes, it's hitting. Yeah. So this works fine, but how to define the post? So add a new request, understand the post, create patient information. Okay, so this is a post method, and try to save all. Save every time when you make changes. So this is again dev URL got API patient information. So this is a check your post. So this is the post. Okay, so copy this entire, go to body, raw and JSON, put it here and get saved. Okay, so ID we are not going to pass because ID will be created automatically. So name, it's going to be okay. So date of birth would be 2024 8/23. I'll make this as 1998. Okay, address ID. So here address ID, medical notes. This is first test patient. Okay, mobile number 987, email address @gmail.com. Mhm. No, post is create. Oh, yes, post is create. Put is update. So here address. So here navigation. So we are not going to send all of this. Okay. So let's review your database. Let's review your database. So here patient information. So this is patient information. ID, it's taking name, date of birth, address ID, medical notes, mobile number, email address, and the address. So go and check your database. So tables. First we will insert a record here so that we will understand. And before that, check whether we have data in every table. Or are we going to, okay, so this is going to insert data into multiple tables. So address table is there. So even in the address, we are going to send the data. Okay, so in that case, so your name, date of birth, address ID. Does it contain address ID? Okay, so how this works? Because address ID and address So this needs to insert data into address. Check the address ID. Even ID we are not going to pass it. So house number 123, test street, city ID. We know city ID, right? I'll just put 1. So zip code 72254 is communication address. Yes. This is test city. Okay, so city, we are not going to pass the city details here. What is this ID, name, remarks, SID? Yeah, even S navigation, you're not going to do because it's already there. Even the cities already there. So when you are removing it, be careful. So remove this step by step. Okay, then navigation from here to here. Yeah, you can remove the entire. So if you select this, it will give the end closing bracket also. Okay, so patient informations, this is also not required. Okay, so this is closing here, this is closing here, there's an extra. Okay, so just hit save and put a breakpoint in the post. Where is the post? Yeah, post is here. Okay, bad request. So when you say bad request, address, the city field is required. We gave city field, address, city ID, but still it is expecting a city field here. So where is our patient information? Okay. So this is not going to work because we cannot use, this is a database representation, right? So this is database representation, and why it is expecting a address ID. Okay. So this is database representation of, are we using the same? So I patient information, create patient information. Yes. So we cannot use this as it is because this is a database representation and we are not going to ask user to create data like this because he will not give the ID. Okay, he will give the he will provide the name, date of birth, and he is not going to give the address ID and medical notes. He'll give the medical notes, mobile number, and email address, and he'll provide the address. So in the address, you will have the ID, house number, street, city ID. So this information he will give, and also he will not give the city collection and also patient information collection. So then how to do that? So then we cannot use these models as is. There are multiple ways. So we can use the view models, which are pure uh, representation of C# classes. So come here, add a new project and name it as so shall we see this tomorrow in next session? So the issue here, these are the database representation. These models are representation of the database and we cannot ask user to provide data in this format. So we need to have a view model, or you can call them as a models also, and your API will use those models. Okay, the data will come into that model And in the services, we are going to, based on that view model, we are going to create actual models and we are going to pass it to the database. Okay. So we'll see that in the next session. Okay.